This is fine. This is fine. This is a poor substitute for therapy, but an excellent substitute for other podcasts.
We're not like other podcasts.
Join us as we find the answers to the universe's biggest questions like, is butter a carb? Does crying burn calories? And what the fuck am I doing with my life? We're here to be your part-time therapist, astrologer, concierge doctor, and fairy godmother. Do you need someone to validate you today? Cool. Come on in. We're fine. This is fine. Bonjour, babies. It's your girl here, Dominique. Hot girl summer has felt a little bit like hot dumpster fire summer. I would say dumpster fire is played out, but it just still feels so accurate. There's a lot going on in the world, and it can feel very overwhelming at times. I get it. I am right there with you. It's a lot. That is why today I brought in a very particular expert for you. Today we're getting the gift of breathwork with Candice Rebollo, a breathwork and intuition coach. Fun fact, Candice is also a medium and psychic, so if you're into that kind of stuff, you're going to have even more to love about today's show. We're going to spend the first part of this episode interviewing Candice about the benefits of doing breathwork and how we can use it as a tool to manage stress and challenges in our day-to-day life. And then we're going to do some breathwork together using her guidance and coaching. So make sure you're listening to this episode in a place where you can safely close your eyes, get into a meditative state, and breathe really deeply. No driving or walking around for this one, sorry. Breathwork has some clinically studied, scientifically backed benefits when it comes to stress relief, mood elevation, and more. And it's free, so we love that, especially in this economy. But sometimes it's hard to carve out time to get into a practice unless someone is forcing you, coaching you and guiding you. That's what we're here for today. Candice, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your gifts. I'm so excited to have you here on This Is Fine.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to join and wonderful to share the gift of breathwork. It's the gift that keeps on giving, really.
It really is. And I feel like it's such a beautiful access point to a whole new world of, other spiritual and self-care things. So I'm really excited for those who aren't yet acquainted with it or haven't taken that deep dive into that side of their lives and themselves. I feel like this is going to be a really great start point.
Absolutely. Breathwork is meant for everybody, whether you've never done it before or whether you have other types of breathwork practices already incorporated in your mental health, spiritual health, in whatever sphere you're already using it. This kind of breathwork detox for me, has been the most life-changing thing, and I see it work miracles and wonders for all of my clients. So I just feel grateful to be able to share it with more and more audiences. That's what this work is about. We have to spread the word, right? We have to spread awareness.
Love it. And the fact that you said that this is the most powerful part of your practice is really incredible and very impressive because you have such a diverse background. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about what led you to this place and your offerings today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started as, and I am a psychic channel and medium. And that's sort of how my journey began. I went on, a deep spiritual path. And on that path and journey, I realized that I was able to connect with my own guidance system, spiritual guidance system, and my loved ones on the other side. It just sort of happened. And what the beauty of that just happening is I now get to train other women and people in doing so. And I also utilize the breath work even in this process because it is such a profound way to allow people to connect to the other side. All it takes is truly intention within a breathwork session. And they were able to connect, even deeper sometimes than a full channeled session with their own loved ones and experience it for themselves. And I take breathwork down numerous, paths within what I offer. But truly, I love doing third eye activation and third eye awakening with the breath work, and setting that intention and creating that sacred space really allows for a deep unfolding for anyone who's doing breath work with me.
Okay, so if someone listening right now is really excited and interested about the kind of work you do and they think, hey, maybe that's something I want to take up and share with other people as well, what would that process be like in becoming a breathwork coach?
So really it's about getting thorough training, because what you see when a facilitator is hosting a one-on-one coaching session or breathwork session, or, hosting a larger event, there's a lot that goes behind it. So you really want to get trained. My mentor and the CEO of Breathwork Detox is Curtis Lee Thomas. He's at Man from the Stars on Instagram. He is an amazing individual. Love that guy so much. He trained me extremely well, and really he changed my entire life and the course of my entire business, because breathwork was just the catalyst. It's that domino, it's that first domino push, and then who you are and your highest vibration and your gifts start to just kind of spill out of you. It's quite wonderful.
That's amazing. And just as you're talking, I have to ask, do you have Pisces placements or like a lot of 12th house placements?
I do have a lot of 12th house placements, and my midheaven is in Pisces.
Okay, yep, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on in the 12th house.
Yeah.
A lot of beautiful transformational stuff for sure.
I love that you didn't even blink twice. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yes. Yeah, I study human design and astrology very thoroughly. It's actually
so cool.
one thing that I do with my clients too. I go through an extended astrological course with them. This I love to do one-on-one. I don't do group work with this, because I help you decode your chart and then learn to read others. It's so much fun.
Oh, I love it. That's so much fun. I'm actually in the middle of some astrology school right now, and it's definitely one of my passions. So thank you for indulging me. It's so special.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I just I felt the spirituality, and I'm like, where is this in her chart? Immediately. Okay, so speaking of your courses, I took one of your breathwork classes, which was beautiful. And some of the style, and I know that you've, off mic told me that this is not holotropic breathing, but it was quite similar to what I have experienced with holotropic breathing, with the belly breath, then the chest breath, and then the release, and it's all open mouth. And there has been, a lot of research over the past 25 years showing the benefits of this type. What led you to your specific type of breathing? How is it different from holotropic? What are these benefits?
That's a wonderful question. Now, how it differs from holotropic, I'm not completely sure, but I will say that this style of breath work really is something that I was trained in, from the jump. From out the gates, Breathwork Detox is the breath work that I found. I actually didn't do really much breath work other than some Kundalini breathing and kind of breathing in and out through separate nostrils for an extended period of time, and just rebalancing the right and left sides, the hemispheres of the brain. I've done some things like that, but very minimal. When I found Breathwork Detox and uncovering what this style of breathwork is, I had never come across anything like it before, nor had I done, 27, 28 minutes of this, any kind of repetitive breathing ever. So when I found this and I started to have these amazing breakthroughs in these sessions, I was like, oh my, I was sold. I knew I had to incorporate this into my own practice and then teach this as well. So it really is, like I said, the gift that keeps on giving, because the more you do it, the more the results are compounded onto one another, and you just expand in ways that you would never expect, and you release things that you also don't know you're holding on to. So it's quite beautiful. The breathing pattern is this 3-part breath. It's the 2 in and the 1 out, like you described, and you're not pausing, you're not stopping, you're breathing about 80% into your gut. 20% are kind of like what's left over goes into your chest, and then you just let that breath fall out. You don't want to force that out breath. You don't want to really push it out. You just kind of let it fall out. So it's a 3-part breath, again, 2 in, 1 out, and it sounds something like this. So you're kind of in this Goldilocks zone, is what I like to call it. You're not Speedy Gonzalezing through this breath work. You're not breathing really fast, and you're also you're not breathing at the pace of a turtle either. You're not really slow, and you're not really airy with it, and almost comfy. Like you could fall asleep. It's not that. It's somewhere in between. You want to keep a nice steady pace, And your mouth is to be, nice and wide open, lying flat on your back, whether it's on a couch or a bed or a yoga mat. You don't want any pillow or anything behind the head, because
Right.
really with this style of breath work, we just shotgun that air straight into your gut. And this is the gut is where 80% of the immune system resides. And so there's all kinds of health benefits outside of just the spiritual awakening,
Right. Yeah, there's there's a lot of studies. I looked into this before, obviously, we have our little session here. And it shows that, it reduces anxiety. It improves your self-esteem. There are studies that do show that it helps people connect to their spirituality. It improves your self-awareness. And we love self-awareness around here. So this is, for those who might be a little bit skeptic, maybe not yet into the spiritual stuff, there's some clinical data that's showing that this type of breath work can help in a number of ways for your mental and physical health.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I believe there are Harvard studies that show, I believe it's 60 to 90% of all hospital visits are stress related.
Wow.
That's so many. 60 to 90% of hospital visits are stress related. So when you learn to manage stress, and not just manage it, but to overcome that style of coping with your life and things going on in your life, you will transform physiologically.
Yes.
You will transform your health. You will transform your connection to your family, to yourself. I mean, everything improves. You start to see very, very clearly like never before, and everything just kind of falls into suit.
It's amazing. So I love that this idea of a specific style of breathing, which honestly, after you learn it, is something you can do on your own for free to help your health, right? It's so accessible and it's so transformative. I have a question, because it's open mouth breathing, right? And there's a lot of data and research that says that can activate your fight or flight response. People are taping their mouths shut at night for this reason. And this breath work helps you chill out. And it seems like counterintuitive almost. So do you know what the deal is with this? Like why this type of open mouth breathing helps, but other types of open mouth breathing, gets you in fight or flight? Or does this get you in fight or flight to then help you calm?
That is a great question. I'm going to speak from personal experience and in what I see in all of my clients. This is the fight or flight thing in breathwork, in this style that I lead. It's about overcoming resistance, right? So really, if you're doing a full breathwork session, you're breathing about 27 to 28 minutes. That is the golden zone. That is the pocket where you are going to have probably one of the most profound experiences of your life if you're committing to doing the breathwork fully.
Right.
Now, about 8 to 10 minutes into that, you reach a state called transient hypofrontality. And that's where the front of the brain, the monkey mind, really calms and quiets. And you reach these states of pure bliss, of zen and clarity. This is where the downloads and the insights and just the overall high vibrational frequency of who you are is allowed to come through. So just before you reach that point, you're also going to reach peak resistance, where your mind is trying to push you off course. Your mind will say things like, while you're breathing, like, why did she choose this music? Or what about all the things on my to-do list? Did I pay that one bill? How do I sound breathing? I probably look like an idiot, yada, yada, yada. You're going to reach all of these points of resistance that you have to continually overcome as you're pushing through with your breath. So there is an element, I would say, of fight or flight in that aspect, in that you are going to need to overcome resistance, because it's called breath work. Yeah, you have to put in work, and what you put in is what you get out. So if you're going to give 100, you're going to get 100.
Yeah.
And this style of breathing, since it's just straight into the mouth and into the belly, this is the quickest way to highly oxygenate your body. And this is what allows the breakthrough to occur, because you're so oxygenated that it's like the body's able to push out all this old energy from your nadis or your energetic system, your energetic highways. And so it just is foolproof. If you're doing it the correct way, it's a foolproof way to have like a spiritual awakening, essentially.
Yeah, that's so cool. And it makes sense. Like everything you just said, from my own personal experience doing this type of breathing, it is really intense. It's not like you said, breath work. It's not like breath nap or breath chill time. Like it is work. And the aspect of kind of activating the fight or flight to break through does make a lot of sense. Like the first few times I did this type of work, I got the like T-Rex hands, like the little crab claw hands from like the oxygenation. And, it can do a lot of wild things that, at least for me in the beginning, made me want to slow down the breathing and not, go the full, 100% for the almost 30 minutes. Can you talk about some of the intensity a little bit for those who are going to join us for the breathwork session today, what to expect and what to not be afraid of, essentially?
Yeah, so today's probably going to be a shortened version of the breath work. So they may or may not experience these symptoms. And even if they did a full session, some people experience these symptoms and some people don't. There are varying reasons why people say tetany and other things in the body can happen. Some say it can be a nutrient deficiency. It can be a need for magnesium, all these different things. I personally feel that really this is your body going through an energetic flush. You're releasing trapped emotions and energies from your body, probably from like 1990 something. Okay?
Amazing.
Things that you didn't even know. Things that you didn't even know you're carrying, and memories that are so suppressed you didn't even know they were a thing. Okay, so breath work really reaches into you energetically and reactivates chi and energetic flow into the body. So numbness, tingling, tetany, tightening of the arms, eye twitching, sweating, then feeling really cold. There's all kinds of symptoms that can happen while you're breathing. And the most important thing to understand is that you got to keep breathing through it. You got to keep pushing through, because these are just signs and symptoms that you're actually breathing correctly. And your breakthrough is just on the other side of those symptoms. So they're not to be feared. They're not to be, used as something to maybe slow down. Oh, maybe I'm not doing it right. Maybe it's too much for my body. And it's like I would say, 85% of people who first do breath work, they all think they're doing it wrong.
Yep.
Everyone thinks, oh, I have to be doing this wrong. I'm not doing this correctly. And if you just stick to it, and as well as your body can do it, it does not have to be perfect, you will have a profound breakthrough. So don't worry about like tetany and the tightness of the hands and the lobster claw. If that happens, keep breathing through it. You might have some sore hands, after the breath work, but your body's really flushing, and it's flushing like never before. I mentioned these energetic highways, if you will, called nadis, and there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of these in your body. And you are releasing and clearing these highways like never before. So again, your chi flows amazingly. And sometimes there's stagnant energy in your body. So when you finally allow this release to happen, the body can be like, what is happening? And I feel like it can tighten, and physiologically, sometimes the body just needs to produce a certain amount of how should I say? Well, like we spoke of, resistance to actually allow the energy to fully release.
I'm glad that we went over this, because when I first experienced it, of course, I thought, oh, I've done something wrong. I'm in medical danger and I need to stop. So knowing that this, those kind of symptoms are part of the process is really good to know ahead of time, so no one panics and, can continue through.
Totally. And it's something that I always have to run this by every single new group, every single new client, because you have to be mentally prepared for what's coming. And the more you know, the easier it is to, okay, so when these things come up, it's easier for you to breathe through them and not feel that it's a reason to kind of want to like pull back,
run
or
away,
fall asleep, or just or run away. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so for legal reasons, and so no one sues us, there are a few groups that we have to say, talk to a doctor first. If you have a history of cardiovascular disease, angina, heart attack, high blood pressure, glaucoma, retinal detachment, osteoporosis, recent injury or surgery, or if you have a history of severe panic attacks, psychosis or disturbances, severe mental illness, seizure disorders, or a family history of aneurysms, please talk to your doctor before doing any type of breathwork practice, including this one.
Yes, it's good to say. Though it's very important to say those things. And listen, we have waivers and all that kind of stuff for, important reasons. But I
Yeah.
will say I've done this breath work and I've seen it done with over 80, 90-year-old women and also like huge buff NFL dudes who play pro, and
Yeah.
everything in between that.
And
And
it's all
really,
good.
it's all gravy. Listen, nobody's ever died from breathing, right? But people die
Exactly.
every day from not breathing. People die every day from not learning how to breathe properly. And the more shallow and more stressed out we are, the shallower our breathing gets. And this is what causes a lot of
A
difficulties
lot of
moving forward
problems.
and aging.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm laughing not because any of those conditions are laughable, but because I felt like I sounded like one of those prescription medication advertisements at the end where it's like, this could probably cause death. And if you have this, this, and this.
Yes.
But yes,
it's important to say.
Yeah, this is the also like, please don't sue us disclaimer.
Yes.
But yeah, it's an intense process. I don't want to, keep rambling too long in this intro, but just know that it's going to be intense. Make sure you're good. Like, just get into a good headspace. Find a nice place, like she said, to lay down. You might want a blanket. Make sure nothing's under your head or neck. That's really important. And carve out this time to really do the work. It seems like breathing wouldn't be so much work, but it really is. So just want people to be mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared for what's about to come.
Yes, absolutely. The emotional aspect is an important one too, because we always say if there were a sin in breath work, it would be to feel an emotion bubbling up and to push it
back down.
and force it back down.
Oh, I'm not supposed to
don't
do that? Who,
No,
me?
you gotta feel all the feels, okay? You gotta feel it to heal it. And there's no way out of it. There really isn't. I mean, and the way out of it, really, the only way out of it is through denial, or you just move through it. That's it.
Okay, amazing. And then last question that I didn't think I was going to ask. Should anyone have maybe a notebook for taking notes about some feelings afterward?
100%. It is
Cool.
very, very, it's a great idea to journal after your session because things are fresh and what you recall, what you remember, what you know your breakthrough was about will be very important to get out of your system while it's fresh. So having a journal handy is highly recommended. And sometimes even a voice note, a voice memo. Sometimes when I like don't feel like writing, sometimes I'll just like hit record on my phone on a voice memo and I'll just like title it Breathwork Breakthrough or something. And I'll just speak on everything that happened to me in that breathwork session. And it helps to be able to go back and replay that for yourself and understand really what happened. And sometimes things in breathwork, they make immediate sense. And then other times you're like, whoa, that was deep. And it makes sense, weeks, months later.
Yeah, totally. I feel like for me too, it like helps bring me back to earth a little bit with that process. Like, this can be really intense work and it can be really spiritual. And sometimes I need to ground a little bit afterwards so that either voice memo or, handwritten journaling can be helpful for that.
Very much so, very much so. And grounding is a very important part. After we always tell people after they breathe, definitely eat something.
Ooh, good call.
You don't want to breathe on a full stomach. So ideally, the last time you would have eaten would be like, minimum like 2 hours ago.
Oh, that's a good note, actually. So if you've eaten within the last 2 hours, maybe press pause on this for a little bit now and just like let your stomach, digest, do its thing and come back to the breath work once you feel a little bit more clear.
100%. Yes.
Cool.
And, but after, let me tell you, I've raided my fridge like crazy after breath work. You're going to want to ground. Your body's going to crave a lot of nutrients and a lot of water. So hydration is key. Eating is key. If you have a particularly emotional experience, you'll want to ground in an Epsom salt bath or spray with a salt spray or a grounding spray. These things are really important for aftercare.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So I feel like that covered the bases, right? The before, the after.
Did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take it away?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go ahead.
Let's do it.
And I'll have my beautiful breathers and these listeners. I want you to lie down on your back, whether that's on your bed, your couch, your yoga mat. Remember, no pillow behind the head. You can have a pillow behind the knees. That's totally okay. We are going to do something. One thing I did forget to mention. So as you're lying down, just know at the end of breathing, we do something called a CO2 dump. And the CO2 dump is essentially 3 large screams. You can do it into your pillow. That's how most of us do it. And this is really the last hoorah. You've spent all these minutes breathing and working up and kicking up all this old energy. And that CO2 dump really says, get out of my system. Leave now. That sort of thing. So you want to make sure to really breathe well and to your fullest potential, and then take those CO2 dumps at the end seriously. So as you continue to get comfortable, if you have an eye mask or something to cover your eyes with, go ahead and do that now. And if not, just close your eyes and keep them closed throughout the duration of this breathing. And I always say an affirmation and invocation for any and all breathers who breathe with me. So I'll do that now. I surround myself and all of these wonderful breathers in the unconditional loving light with all that is. We ask our unseen friends, guides, angels, ancestors, loved ones, living in the highest realms of the love and light, to commune and connect with us now, holding sacred space and assisting us in having the experience that is for our highest good. So, dear breather, I want you to breathe into your nose and out through your mouth. Into your nose and out through your mouth. And as you're breathing, I want you to bring attention to your mind's eye, your third eye, in between the forehead or in the middle of the brain, however feels comfortable for you, and just kind of put focused, loving energy here. And as you do that, I want you to either speak out loud to yourself or telepathically to God, the universe, however you name it and call it. Speak your intention and what you hope to get out of this breathwork session. And it doesn't matter what that intention is. It can be to complete a mundane task, and it also can be for a future goal. It could be for a relationship healing. Any and all things are welcomed. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Hold this intention in your heart as you're breathing. And let's prepare for liftoff.
All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting.
35 seconds and counting.
30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good.
Feeling good. Go ahead and open your mouth nice and wide.
20 seconds.
Remember, this is only mouth breathing.
T-minus 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Guidance is internal.
Guidance is internal.
12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6.
Empty the belly. Take a deep breath in through the mouth, into the belly, into the chest. Release and begin. Keep that steady pace. Remember, these initial beginning minutes, they're the hardest. What you put into breath work is what you get out. So stay consistent with your breathing. Stay committed. And you'll have a very wonderful, beautiful experience. Keep breathing, breather. You got this. Let's go, beautiful breather. You're just breathing. You've done harder things in life. Stay consistent. Stay with the breath. In through the mouth, into the belly, into the chest, and release. Really fill that belly. Okay, rise. Let that belly rise and fall. Really impregnate the belly with the air. 80% in the gut, 20% in the chest, and release. Let's go. You got this. Keep going. As you're breathing, I want you to remember that life is about making mistakes. And death is about wishing you made more. So as you're breathing, remember to give it your all. This is going to help you in life, because how you do anything is how you do everything. We want to make sure you leave this life with your tank on E. No stones left unturned. No things left unsaid. We have to learn to live our lives to the fullest, and breathwork helps us do that. So keep breathing. You got this, beautiful soul. Remember, a little progress each day adds up to big results. So keep breathing, keep your intention held in your heart. As you're breathing, focus on your heart or your third eye, whatever feels best. You got this. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. So learn to be okay with mistakes. Learn to be okay with failure. Perfectionism kills dreams. Act as if what you do makes a difference in all people's lives. And then remember, it truly does. Mastering others is strength, and mastering yourself is true power. So keep breathing. You are learning. You are in the process of learning self-mastery. That's truly all you're here to do in the first place. The meaning of life is to find your purpose. And the purpose of life is to give it away. Your gifts are meant for the world, not just for yourself. So open, 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 and keep breathing. You've got this. 2 breaths in, 1 breath out. Change is inevitable, but growth is optional. You're showing up and you're breathing for yourself right now. This shows that you want better for yourself and those around you. You're almost there. Keep breathing. Okay, go ahead and grab your pillow to do your CO2 dump in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and scream into the pillow. 2 more times here. Scream. Once more. Scream. And relax. Stop the active breathing. Breathe calmly through your nose. You've done an amazing job for yourself. Really take the next 5 to 10 minutes to integrate. Just lie there. Let all the frequencies soak in. Let all the downloads come. You've done amazing. Good job.
Wow, Candice, thank you so much. That was so special. Thank you. This is such a gift for everyone listening and breathing with us right now.
You are so, so welcome. You are so, so welcome. This was really fun, and I'm glad we still made it work.
Me too. Thank you again. Such a treasure. Loved doing this with you. We definitely need to do it again sometime.
100%. We will. And for all the breathers who did the breath work and for all those listening, take your practice to consistent levels, because this is where the real breakthrough and the real life-changing results happen. So this is just the beginning, probably for many of you. The more you do it, the better it gets.
Yes. Thank you so much. Hey, it's me again, checking in before we sign off. I don't want to ruin your breathwork high, so I'll make it quick, and I bet you're probably hungry, so sorry. I hope this was a powerful healing practice for you and that you're feeling rejuvenated post-breathing session. Again, this is a free mental and spiritual wellness practice that you can take with you, and you can refer back to this episode over and over. If you're a Patreon member, you can hear this breathwork practice without the interview part or any of the other intro-outro jazz, so you can just jump right into it as a 15-minute guided meditation and breathing practice whenever you want. To find more from Candice, head to her Instagram. It's CandiceRebollo, all one word on Instagram. That's her handle. This Is Fine listeners can access a special discounted breathwork coaching session with Candice. There's a secret link I'm including in the description of this episode and on the transcript page, so definitely check that out. That's all for today. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you got to de-stress a bit. I'm grateful you came. If you liked today's episode, please leave us a review on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. If you didn't like today's episode, email me at imfine@thisisfinepodcast.com. But be nice with your feedback, otherwise I'll probably cry. I'm sensitive. Anyway, à bientôt bébé. Je vous aime beaucoup. Bye bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of This Is Fine. I've been your host, Dominique Michelle Astorino. We're based in San Diego, recording in studio at DLI Productions in Pacific Beach with Emmy Award-winning sound designer Dan De La Isla. This is a comedy and advice podcast, but for legal reasons, this entire podcast is a joke and none of it is medical advice. To download the transcript or learn more, visit thisisfinepodcast.com.